Rian Johnson, welcome back to Bullseye. I'm so happy to have you back. It's very nice to see you.
Well, I've been looking forward to this. This is a pleasure, man.
Yes. Why did you want to make a detective movie about God?
Well,
or at least let's say faith. Let's say faith.
Yeah, about faith. I guess kind of coming out of the last movie, Glass Onion, which we had a blast making, but it was kind of like a big, broad comedy. I kind of wanted to ground this next one. And so I decided to take the route of making it personal. And that's where the faith thing came in. I grew up very, 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 very Christian. That was 4 varies right there. That's a lot of God. Up through my childhood and into my early 20s, I was, the movie said in the Catholic Church, I wasn't Catholic. I was Protestant. I was evangelical. I was like a youth group kid. But it wasn't just that I was in like a churchy household. I was actually deeply personally Christian up through my early 20s, and I'm not anymore. And so it's something that I've thought a bit about over the course of my life. Holds a complicated place in me. And I thought, well, it seems like a great foundation to build a big, fun murder mystery movie around.
I'm worried that this will sound like a goof because I don't intend it as a goof, but did you have as they say, a personal relationship with Christ?
I did. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because every time I say that phrase, I feel like I have to like apologize for it or something, but that really that's not just kind of Christian faith speak, although it kind of sounds like it. That's actually what it was. It's hard to really describe if to someone who hasn't been in that space, but it is really just this, you live your life with this personal relationship. The other way I would phrase it is it was the lens through which I parsed the world around me in every aspect. It was the narrative frame through which I saw the whole world.
You lived in a few different places as a kid. Was it something that started like from your family from when you can remember, or was there a time when your family joined a church that changed the tone of things? Or
no, since before, like when I was little, like before memory little, my parents were involved in church, and so I always grew up in it. So no, it's kind of all I've ever known when I was a kid.
What kind of church did you go to as an adolescent?
As an adolescent, I went to just a Protestant church in Colorado. It was, I have like vague memories of it. Once we moved to Orange County, then there was a church I went to with my parents that was kind of just a Protestant church, but then I found this church in Dana Point that had a great youth group that some of my closest friends from high school also went to. So that kind of became the hub. And I was really an Orange County youth group kid, which is a very specific niche. It's a very specific thing. Yeah.
Was it like turn the chair around and let me rap at you? Was it like chain wallets? Was there ska bands involved?
It was all of that. It was, the youth group pastor with the acoustic guitar kind of going from like a Pearl Jam lick into like a worship song. And hey man, how's your walk? How's your walk going?
I grew up in the Episcopalian Church, which is not that far off of the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
It's mostly geopolitical, as I understand it, is the difference.
Okay.
And then the body and blood of Christ. But you set this film in the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
Did you set the film in the Catholic Church because the outfits are better, or?
Kind of. Yeah, the Catholic Church in terms of storytelling aesthetics, they got everyone beat. And the churches I grew up in, most of them look like pottery barns. They were not theatrical spaces at all. And also, honestly, if I'm being honest, though, also because I wanted to be able to speak directly to my experience in the evangelical church with this movie, setting in the Catholic Church just gave me a little bit of distance to be able to kind of hit it on the head a little more. The Catholic Church was very exotic to me when I was younger and kind of scary. And you're kind of taught in the Protestant world, I don't know, there's a little bit of kind of those crazy Catholics with their saints and the blood of Christ and everything. There's something a little horror movie about it, but also intriguing and kind of powerful. So stepping into the world of faith, but in the Catholic Church, it was almost a little bit like Sergio Leone coming to make an American Western. I'm coming in as an outsider who has always had this sort of this is sort of exotic to me, and tapping into that.
There's no Easter Mass.
Oh,
I'm sorry. You're welcome. Come in.
Thank you.
Come in.
Thank you. I don't want to take you away from your priestly duties now, do I? Well, isn't this something?
Right? It's hard to be in here and not feel his presence.
Whose? Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You're not a Catholic.
No, very much not, no.
Do you think you like genre so much because of this commitment to the idea of or myths?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why it feels good to kind of have genre be one element of sort of what I have up till this point started with. I mean, I feel like it might be that. It might be that it gives it also. I find that having kind of like a preset game board between you and the audience allows me to, it gives me a structure, and it lets me then, it lets me feel like I have a structure in order to go in and entertain an audience. And then, so I can have this little conversation about God with myself in the middle of it. Maybe that's it.
This one is less goofy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it's
there's still some
goofiness.
There's some laughs in there.
Got to be a little goofy sometimes, but this one is definitely more grounded. I mean, especially in relation to Glass Onion, which was kind of riffing off of Last of Sheila and Evil Under the Sun. This was definitely that was one of the things I came into it like, okay, it'd be nice to kind of ground this next one.
Are you at all interested in a world where you're making like Mike Leigh movies? Like, are you ever, has it ever occurred to you to make a totally non-genreic movie?
I've thought about it. What I feel right now specifically more and more is I want to do things that feel scary. I want to do things that I don't know how to do them. And I want to break my own process, and I want to, I don't know. I'm just feel like I'm in that place where I want to try things that genuinely scare me. So yeah, everything's out there. I want to try it all, man. As long as they keep letting me make movies.
What are the basic elements of the process that you have right now?
So, I mean, with the writing process, I write very structurally. So I sit down and I spend a lot of time working in my little notebooks, kind of outlining and figuring out the whole shape of it. It's hard to imagine not doing it that way for me. It's interesting. I talk big about breaking process. The idea of doing what, like I've heard this is how the Coen brothers write. Like you just sit down, start typing, and just see where the story goes. I could see maybe trying that as an exercise. For me, it a lot of the joy, the paltry amount of joy that I do get from writing, because writing's mostly miserable, the joy of creating a beautiful structure, I guess, and creating an ending that feels like it reflects the beginning in this mirror, like all of that stuff. Also, it's interesting. It's that, and that's
your brain was poisoned by going to that Robert McKee.
That Robert McKee thing got me, man. That's what got me.
Author of the legendary screenwriting book Story.
Are you not a McKee fan?
I have never read it.
I gotta say, man, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, I presume it is. Everybody loves it.
It's great. But I don't know. But then again, that makes me, just seeing those words makes me want to sit down and just try starting to type. The other thing, though, I think I have to be careful of, and this is a thing I'm sort of going back and forth with and really wrestling with, is what's the line between breaking your own process and not trusting craft. That's something that my writer and director friend Scott Frank, that's something that he talks about is trusting craft. And to some extent, that's also, I don't know, what's the line between having formed a rut and knowing how to perfectly build a wooden joint for carpentry.
I mean, you're telling me this, but also when you had a hit film, your third film, the first hit film that you made, Looper, you signed up to make a Star Wars movie, which is the ultimate genre film. You made the best Star Wars movie.
Oh.
Then you signed up to make 3 more Star Wars movies.
I didn't sign anything.
Okay. Well, you
talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you decided as an escape from that, as a flight of fancy, that you would make a mystery movie of the kind where the like detective explains everything that happened at the end, which is perhaps the only genre of film more genre-y than Star Wars movie. You know what I mean?
What are you saying?
Yeah. And then when you made that, you signed up for 2 more of them.
Yeah. So? I don't know.
I'm just saying, you spent the last 30 years doing this.
Oh, I'm not saying I don't. I started with saying I love genre. I'm what I'm saying is like, because also for me, I also completely have just believe in just following your bliss, you know, and that's like just follow your nose. And with, for example, with these, you know, with these movies, for example, it's every single one of them. Like even after we made Glass Onion, like our contract with Netflix was like, we had like 5 years to make the next one. So I could have gone and done something completely different next. But the most exciting thing in the world to me was the idea of making this specific movie and attempting this specific thing. So, I don't know. I don't want to, I think there's also a danger in second guessing that just out of some concept of wanting to not do something that I don't know, not wanting to follow a pattern or something. I'm just trying to figure it out. I don't even know.
Do you think you lose anything by getting invested in the puzzle box of building a story, especially a story that is so dependent on its puzzle boxness?
I don't know. I mean,
or I guess in the Star Wars case, and its Star Wars-ness?
No. I mean, if someone watching it feels like they don't like it as much because it has that element of it, that's fine. That's
they're wrong. It's the best one.
That's their experience of it. But for me, or the puzzleness of these movies or whatever, no. For me, I don't know. For me, it's not 2 separate things. For me, the thing that, like the spiritual center of what actually gets me excited about making a movie, it's not like I then build a puzzle box around that. For me, I can only start a process when kind of the gears of, for lack of a better word, the puzzle box thing, engage with the thing I care about, and they both drive each other, and they're part and part. So the Star Warsiness of The Last Jedi is inseparable from the emotional core of that movie for me. And all 3 of these Benoit Blanc movies actively engage with the mechanics, for lack of a better word again, of the murder mystery in order to get to an emotional truth from me. So no, I don't ever feel like I'm making a movie I care about and I have to build all this bullshit around it so that it feels like a mystery. I don't think I could ever do that. I feel like for me, the mystery elements need to inform the emotional story and vice versa. They need to be infused to the point where, for me, they're inseparable.
There was a theatrical production of the first Knives Out film.
Oh my God.
Tell me the venue. This was my first, I was like, oh, well, probably at the Public Theater in New York or...
This was a small charter high school in Santa Rosa. So whatever, about an hour outside of Berkeley. And it was a student. So
famous as the home of Charles Schultz.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Long story short, a woman who worked at the Lucas Archive in Skywalker Ranch, who I've been in touch with, emailed me out of the blue and said, my daughter goes to this high school and she's a senior, and for her senior project, she wants to adapt and direct Knives Out. And I was like, yeah. I was like, oh my God. So
do you have the right to say that?
I don't care.
Okay,
I don't
great.
care. They can sue me. They can bill me.
They want to sue these 17-year-olds.
They can go through me. I'll
Okay.
pay it out. This was worth it. Yeah, Zoe, she was awesome, and she did a great. She sent me like the draft of the adaptation she did with her friend. I thought it was great, and then the timing worked out. I was in San Francisco, so I stayed an extra night and drove up and got to see this production, and it was the most magical night for me because I was like a high school theater kid. I don't know if you can tell. I was a high school theater kid. And so I got to go back. I was backstage before the show with them and did like their hype up exercise with them. And the kids, they were so good. Like the Blanc, the girl who played Blanc she did the entire last 20 minutes of the movie, that whole final monologue. She did the whole thing, word perfect, and her accent was great, and she was terrific. Everyone in the cast was great. It was really, but more than that, it was just kind of the full circle joy of remembering, for me, being a high school theater kid and remembering the experiences of the shows I did, and then seeing this thing that's means so much to me done in that context with these kids. It was a really joyful night.
Wes Anderson made Rushmore. You lived it. You got to live it.
Got to live Rushmore. It was so good. Oh my God. Yeah.
Let's hear a clip.
And yes, what you and Harlan did that fateful night seems at first glance to fill that hole perfectly. A donut's hole in a donut's hole. But we must look a little closer. And when we do, we see that our donut has a hole in its center. It is not a donut hole at all, but a smaller donut with its own hole, and our donut is not whole at all.
You famously brought your first film, Brick, in under budget. Famously. On this program, famously.
Okay. All right.
I probably brought it up every time. By essentially making the movie in pre-production. Like I
think we spent every dollar we had on Brick, but we made it for a very low budget by making it in pre-production. Yeah.
Right. So you made like a millions of dollar movie for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, although I'm going to actually step in. Yes, but I always want to kick back on romanticizing making a movie for nothing, because the reality is, you have to prep, you have to plan, you have to do all the work. The reality is it's easy to make a movie for nothing. You just don't pay people what they're worth. And so that puts it on you to make sure that everyone who's signing up for it is getting something out of the experience that's going to be worth it to them. But it's just as much work as a director to make something for $5 million as it is to make it for $300,000. You're just not paying people what they should be getting paid. So and that's it. That's my little. So I just always want to kick back on any romanticizing of making super low budget stuff.
You have to have a lot of control over a film that is as complicated as a mystery movie. Mm-hmm. There are all these elements, objects, and moments, things you have to see on screen or just barely see on screen, just barely notice. Like, you have to have a plan for all those pieces. Those are not things that can happen serendipitously. Mm-hmm. So what did happen serendipitously in the process of making this movie? Mm-hmm. When, you have to make sure that the light comes through the church window at the right moment in the speech?
Well, I think where it really comes into play is with the actors for me. And that's the process of discovery. And that's where I like to keep things liquid. The reality is, because I spend so much time structuring it, it seems like that would lead to kind of just tight control on the set. For me, the fact that the writing the words on the page is the very last thing that happens, that means I'm not actually that precious about the words on the page.
So you're basically waiting for Guffmaning this thing?
I'm completely riffing.
Levy
I'm just riffing.
Structuring it and then pointing at a camera and saying,
I just hand the actors some note cards and it just says the color red. Yes, play that. But I don't know. We do step onto these sets and I always listen. I'm learning more and more to step onto a set and try and be perceptive and look for the accents. But even in the writing with this one, I mean, there's a scene in the middle of the movie that I think is kind of the heart of the movie for me. There's a scene with a phone call between Josh O'Connor's character and Bridget Everett plays a woman named Louise. And it's a phone call that kind of makes a very big turn for Father Judd, for Josh's character. And that was something that wasn't outlined, actually. That wasn't in my outline. I had a completely different thing there. And that was something where I was just typing, and it was not feeling right, and then I just let myself go, and it kind of led to this scene. And I got to the end of it and just felt that little glow of true kind of spontaneous discovery, which is really nice. So maybe I should just start typing and see what happens. Cut to, this is terrible. Yeah, I don't know.
That moment in the film is about pastoral care, in the priest sense.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any moments where you personally relied on pastoral care when you were practicing?
It's interesting because the environment that I was in was much more, because of the youth group environment is so specific. It was more about the community of friends, and it was more about the support from that than it was the authority figure of the youth pastor or having a mentor like that. So it was a little bit different. I mean, that specific moment, I'm not Catholic, but I have an uncle and aunt I'm very, very close to who live in Denver who are Catholic. And I got in touch with them when I was writing this. And I went out to Denver, and they set up a dinner with their priest, Father Scott, and like 5 other young priest friends of his in the Denver area. And so I had this big dinner with like 6 priests, and we drank a lot of wine, and we had a great dinner, and we talked and just had this big Ask Me Anything session. That actually, one of the things that they told me about was how when they go out just to, during the day doing errands or whatever, they're wearing the clerical collar. So they can just be going to the grocery store to get milk, and somebody will come up and start sobbing to them, or someone will come up and start screaming at them and getting in their face. And that notion of being someone who's in the world and is always there kind of on stage being of service, I guess, is something I had never quite considered. And that's definitely something that I don't know. Yeah, I didn't grow up with that kind of authority figure in my life. Yeah.
Did the community that is composed of people that are drawn together to make films replace in your life the community of the youth group when you were, 20 years old or whatever?
Probably. Yeah, probably. I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say that like filmmaking replaced, I don't know, faith or something. I think it's more complicated than that. But in terms of community, yeah, absolutely. Well, the other aspect of it is, the friends that I was in youth group with, the thing we would do when we hung out on the weekends was we'd make a movie together. We would just start making something up, and we would just make like a dumb, like Back to the Future parody or something. We would never even show these things to anyone. We would just do it to hang out. So in a very real way, this is the community I've got. And I worked with the same people over and over and over again for years and years. And so that is me recreating, just hanging out with friends, making a movie.
I know that you live in a film-obsessed home. Your wife is a film critic and film historian, Karina Longworth, as well as a film podcaster.
She's not a critic anymore, she said, but yes.
She's a former film critic.
Reformed film critic,
yeah. Current film historian. Yeah. Like, I read this New Yorker article that came out about you the other day, and one of the things was just like in the kitchen, Arsenic and Old Lace was playing on a TV.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like overwhelmed by the amount of other people's movies that are taking up space inside your head?
No, I don't think so. I feel like no, and if I ever do, I just don't watch a movie that day. But no, I feel kind of the opposite. I feel excited that the fact that sitting down, with at night, and Karina's got like a pre-code movie that neither of us ever seen or heard of to watch for her research, and putting that on and being blown away or delighted by it or bored by it or whatever. The fact that there is endless discovery there, the fact that, and first of all, it takes off the pressure of feeling like you have to know everything, but also it just makes it turns it from something that's the work of taking of a burden into something that is genuinely exciting, I think. So no, I love that. I mean, that having been said, I probably watch the same 30 movies over and over and over again.
What are these same movies that you watch over and over?
Yeah, it's just the rotating, I had Lawrence of Arabia on earlier today. It's just like, and I was like, I've seen this movie so many times, but click, or Barton Fink or like whatever it is. It's
Barton Fink is perhaps the Rian Johnson-iest non-Rian Johnson movie.
Oh, I like
that.
That
came before the career of Rian Johnson began.
But what genre would you say Barton Fink is?
Movies about people that make movies.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'll buy that.
With violence.
You know what movie there is that, not to sidetrack into Coen Brothers talk, but I have just become obsessed with Hail Caesar. I think it's...
I've seen it. I watched it on my computer on an airplane.
Okay, I say revisit that movie because I think it's absolutely amazing and is in some way sort of very much connected to Barton Fink. But I've become, I had like when I first saw it, I was a little bit like, what the hell is it? And now I've slowly become smitten with it.
What is an ancient movie that you watched with Karina because she was looking at it for your research that really caught you by surprise?
There is well, this wasn't for her research, but we discovered this movie together, Ladies in Retirement, with Ida Lupino, and I'm like kind of an Ida Lupino super fan. The movies that she directed are fantastic, but I just also love her as a performer. And it's this creepy little kind of gothic story set like on I don't know if it's on the moors, I forget where it's set, but it's set like on a misty kind of landscape, and it has murder in it, and it also has a lot of humor in it, and it's and Ida Lupino is awesome in it. And that's the sort of thing where I watch it, I was like, I've never heard of this movie before, and now this is something that has resonance in my head and that I kind of check back in with every once in a while, and that's exciting.
Are there mystery nerds that have as strong feelings about you as Star Wars nerds do?
I don't know if there are. They haven't yelled at me on Twitter yet, so they probably exist. Probably. I mean, mystery nerds are their own thing, but there's a lot of I don't know. The mystery world is as diverse as the Star Wars world in terms of what people want, and what they want out of it, and all that stuff. So yeah, probably.
I mean, it's much more diverse than the people want. I mean, it's like romance novels or genres of pornography.
Like the mystery world, you mean?
Yeah.
I guess
there's like people who read
that.
only mysteries about cats.
Yeah, that's
or
true.
Baseball.
Yeah, it's true. We got baseball in this one. So if you like baseball mysteries, we do have some baseball in this one. So yeah.
How come Joseph Gordon-Levitt, just because he's your close friend of 25 years or whatever it is, get to be the baseball announcer in this movie?
I can tell you wanted to be that baseball announcer.
Yeah, of course
Jesse.
I wanted to be that. Yes, of course. Make me a baseball announcer in your movies, America's filmmakers.
Well, Jesse,
I can't even get the Giants to let me throw out a first pitch.
You haven't. I've done it for the Dodgers twice.
Well, I mean, obviously, I would want to do it for a team that's not evil.
Wow.
Fundamentally, on a fundamental level.
I have contributed to ruining baseball. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that, buddy? Wow. Yeah, I'm going to just sit. I'm going to sit back and smile.
I lived in Los Angeles a long time. I have a true generosity of spirit towards all Dodgers fans.
Do you though?
They know not what they do. It's not their fault. It's not something fundamental about them. They've just been led astray by a trick of geography and or being a front runner.
Wow.
Either one. Some combination. Who knows? Who knows, Ryan?
The Shohei hasn't got it. It feels like it's so exciting.
It's beautiful.
So special.
No, it's beautiful. No,
Yamamoto, what he did, you got to come on. You got to give it up. You'd
have to have a broken heart.
You would have to be a Grinch.
Not to admire watching Shohei Ohtani play baseball.
Listen to this tone of voice you're talking in right now. I can see you gritting your teeth. You would have to have a heart of steel.
I prefer Elliot Ramos.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Okay. This movie is about, in part, an intense and powerful dad.
Mm-hmm.
Metaphorically, a dad, without going too far into it. But certainly, the Monsignor in this film is an intense and powerful dad.
Mm.
I know you had a dad who was both kind of like an animating figure in you going into the arts, and that also that he could be a scary guy, not an abusive guy necessarily, but like an unpredictable guy.
Yeah.
Was that something you were thinking about when you were writing the film?
You know, it wasn't directly. It's. I mean, I'm sure. Look, and especially the older you get, the more you kind of realize the mountain in the center of your psyche is your dead father. It just, you slowly kind of give into that fact. So anything that you write or put out or think that has kind of a powerful male figure in it, you got to tie something back to it. My dad was very, very different though than the energy of the Wicks character. My dad was not, he didn't have that kind of like scary us against them energy. He had more of kind of like an artist sensibility almost, and it was a little bit more free moving and free spirited. He wasn't mean the way that Wicks is mean to a purpose. My dad could be unpredictable, and as a kid he could be, and he wasn't abusive, but he could be scary, but he was not a mean person. So but you know, like I said, it's, you realize how intertied everything is. I'm sure in every every scary older man that I write, it probably ties back to the mountain.
You don't have to tell me, but do you want to tell me what you were scared of? Like, what was scary about him?
He was just, it was just kind of, you never knew what you were going to get. And he had, he had addiction issues, so that tied into just an unpredictableness. And again, he wasn't physically abusive, but he could be, he could be loud, he could yell, and he was a physically big guy. And then he could also be wonderful and sweet, and could also be incredibly loving and caring and inspiring, and was tremendously supportive. So yeah, there's always the two sides that you're always kind of wrestling with in your head.
It's really tough to not know what to expect from a parent.
Yeah, when you want that solidity and you want that sense of safety, I guess. And in many ways I did grow up feeling very safe, but there was always that side of it.
Do you think you are such a nice guy in part because you like grew up in this culture where the currency is being a nice guy of youth groups, or because being a nice guy is a great strategy to try and control the world around you when you have a parent who's an addict?
Yeah, I'm sure it's all of the above, probably. I mean, although in youth group we were a bunch of little we were yeah, I think youth group was the opposite. We took great delight in being the free radicals in the youth group and just stirring up. But the element that you pointed out in terms of growing up in a house and wanting everything to be okay, that's and again, I don't want to paint too dark a portrait of my house growing up. It's not like it was a house of horrors or anything like that. It was mostly a very loving, supporting place. But I do think, I'm sure that probably ties into it.
I mean, like the first time I met you, Ryan, was in a film festival in Orange County.
Yeah.
Where I had come to watch your movie, The Brothers Bloom.
Yeah.
So I was going to interview you.
Yeah.
You found me, not a publicist or something. You walked up to me and said, I guess you're probably Jesse Thorn, right?
Yeah.
And introduced yourself to me and was nice to me. And I did not I got the distinct impression it was not a work. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't wasn't like you were going around shaking hand, like, you know what I mean?
But you're describing this as if it's the craziest thing in the universe.
It never happened to me any other time.
I was like, I don't know. I liked what you did. I think we follow each other on Twitter. I was like, oh, that's shit. I'm gonna go up and I don't know. That doesn't sound that. I don't feel like we have to pin a neurosis to that behavior. That sounds just, I don't know.
Being welcoming to guests.
You're like, so what's behind this psychotic instinct you have?
Well, Ryan, I'm so grateful for your time. It is always great to get to see a new one of your movies. It's always great to see you.
Thanks, Jesse.
And above all else, thank you for arranging for me to be a Disney shill.
I'm happy
that has been so. Public radio pays so poorly,
Yeah.
but being a paid Disney shill by saying that my favorite Star Wars is Star Wars Last Jedi
Ka-ching!
has meant so much to me over the years.
That's another 35 cents you just earned right there.
Yeah,
so
you get 35 cents a piece.
Right in your pocket.
I have made
Dozens.
nearly $17.
You know what? You're welcome.